High Admiral Vexterra stood on the crystalline observation deck of the hegemony vessel Eternal Dominion, her iridescent scales reflecting the soft blue glow of Earth's atmosphere below. Her four eyes narrowed as streams of data flickered across the quantum blast displays surrounding her command post. Another primitive world, she chittered to her science officer, Kellerman. Mark it as Category D, and let's move on. We have another 1,000 systems to survey in this sector. Kellerman's tentacles wavered slightly as he studied the readings. High Admiral, there's something unusual about their energy signatures. There's always something unusual, Vexterra replied, mandibles clicking with amusement. Let me guess, they've discovered nuclear fission. Perhaps they're experimenting with crude fusion reactors. No, High Admiral. They're manipulating quantum fields. For the first time in 3 centuries of service, Vexterra felt her scales ripple with genuine surprise. She turned all 4 eyes to the detailed scanner readings. The humans, as they called themselves, were indeed conducting experiments that should have been far beyond their technological level. Impossible, she muttered. Their orbital infrastructure is primitive. Their ships still use chemical propulsion. They haven't even colonized their own moon. How could they possibly understand quantum mechanics at this level? Unknown, High Admiral. But these readings are clear. They're not just theorizing. They're actively manipulating quantum states in ways that, well, in ways that don't follow our understood laws of physics. Vexterra's secondary hearts pulsed with irritation. The hegemony had ruled 12,000 star systems for millennia precisely because technological development followed predictable patterns. Species progressed through clear stages: chemical propulsion, nuclear power, fusion drives, quantum theory, and eventually faster-than-light travel. It was a fundamental law of civilization evolution. Yet here was Earth, their primitive satellites cluttering near orbital space, still burning fossil fuels on their surface, while simultaneously conducting quantum experiments that shouldn't be possible for another 1,000 years of development. Send the preliminary report to Imperial Command, she ordered. Mark it as an anomaly, but maintain the Category D classification. We don't want to cause unnecessary concern. The response from Imperial Command came within hours. Assessment noted. Maintain standard observation protocols. Indigenous species shows unusual patterns, but poses no strategic significance. Primitive military capabilities confirmed. Over the next solar cycle, Vexterra found herself repeatedly drawn back to the sensor logs from Earth. The humans were moving too fast. Where other species took centuries to progress from one technological tier to the next, humans were making leaps in decades. Their quantum experiments grew more sophisticated, their understanding of spatial mechanics deepened, and most concerning of all, they were beginning to integrate these advances into their military technology. Deep in Earth's asteroid belt, massive energy signatures appeared, carefully hidden behind sensor baffles that, while crude by hegemony standards, showed remarkable ingenuity in their design. They know we're watching, Vexterra realized one day, studying the latest sensor logs. These radiation leaks, they're too convenient, too obvious. She turned to Kellerman. What are they hiding? The answer would come sooner than anyone in the hegemony expected. In facilities shielded by artificially generated quantum fields that bent scanning beams around them, humanity was building something that defied conventional space warfare doctrine. They had watched the hegemony ships study their technology, and instead of trying to copy it, they had gone in an entirely different direction. When Vexterra filed her final report before being rotated to another sector, she added a personal note. Indigenous species displays unprecedented development patterns. Recommend increased surveillance and possible diplomatic contact. Imperial Command's response remained unchanged. Assessment noted. Maintain current observation protocols. Species poses no significant threat to hegemony interests. As her ship prepared to jump to its next assignment, Vexterra took one final look at the sensor readings from Earth. Something about them made her scales tingle with an ancient sensation, Her species had evolved to warn of predators. "You're making a mistake," she whispered to the empty command deck. "They're not following the rules. They're writing their own." In the hidden shipyards of the asteroid belt, humanity was about to prove her right. The hegemony's dismissal of Earth would prove to be the greatest miscalculation in its 50,000-year history. The aliens thought they were watching primitive humans fumble with advanced concepts. Instead, they were witnessing the birth of something entirely new, a synthesis of biology and technology that would change the face of warfare forever. The hegemony had mastered the laws of physics. Humanity had decided to rewrite them. Director Isabella Reyes stood before the curved window of Observation Deck 7, watching swarms of nanoconstructors weave living metal across the skeletal framework of humanity's greatest gambit. The massive vessel taking shape in the asteroid belt's shadowed depths defied conventional spacecraft design. Its hull rippled like the surface of a disturbed pond, reflecting no light. "Status update on the neural integration," she asked, her voice carrying the weight of someone who hadn't slept properly in weeks. Dr. Nathan Blackwood, head of the Biomechanical Synthesis Division, projected a holographic display between them. Complex data streams showed the merger of organic tissue with quantum-enhanced cybernetics. "The biological matrix is exceeding our expectations. The ship isn't just accepting the neural implants, it's evolving to optimize them." And the consciousness threshold. That's where it gets interesting. Nathan's eyes lit up with the fever of discovery. "We theorized the bioquantum matrix would develop basic awareness. But this," he gestured to a particular data stream, "it's developing genuine sentience. The ship isn't just learning, it's dreaming." Deep within the asteroid facility designated Cradle, Project Leviathan represented humanity's rejection of conventional military doctrine. While the hegemony built bigger ships with stronger weapons, Earth had taken an evolutionary leap. They weren't constructing vessels, they were growing them. The prototype's core was a revolutionary synthesis of genetically engineered organic tissue and quantum-integrated technology. Its hull, composed of living metal, could heal itself and adapt to damage. The neural network was partially organic, giving it reaction times that no conventional computer could match. "Admiral Patel has arrived for the inspection," announced the facility's eye. Isabella straightened her uniform as the Admiral entered, his weathered face bearing the burden of humanity's survival. "Director Reyes." He nodded, dark eyes fixed on the impossible ship outside. "Tell me we haven't spent 6 years and Earth's combined resources growing a very expensive mistake. What you're looking at, Admiral, is the future of warfare." Isabella gestured to the vessel. "Leviathan doesn't just have systems. It has instincts. The biological components give it capabilities that the hegemony can't even theorize, let alone defend against." "Show me." Nathan initiated a combat simulation on the main display. "Conventional ships rely on energy shields, right? Barriers that absorb or deflect attacks. Leviathan's hull actually anticipates incoming fire and adapts its molecular structure in response. It doesn't just absorb energy, it learns from each attack." The simulation showed a hegemony energy beam striking the ship. Instead of attempting to block it, Leviathan's hull flowed like liquid mercury, its living tissue redirecting and dissipating the energy through organic quantum channels. "And offensive capabilities?" Admiral Patel asked, his interest clearly piqued. "That's where it gets revolutionary," Isabella said, bringing up another display. "We've integrated biological weapon systems that operate on principles the hegemony has never encountered. Leviathan doesn't fire conventional weapons. It generates quantum singularities that it can direct with unprecedented precision. The ship's neural network can process tactical decisions faster than any AI, because it doesn't just compute, it intuits. Most importantly," Nathan added, "hegemony sensors can't detect it. The biological components generate a quantum field that doesn't just hide the ship, it makes the space around it forget the ship exists. It's not invisible, it's impossible until it attacks." Admiral Patel watched silently as Leviathan's hull rippled with another surge of neural activity, its surface shimmering like the skin of some vast cosmic creature. "How many can we build?" "We've already begun growing 5 more," Isabella replied. "Each one slightly different, evolving from what we've learned. They're developing distinct personalities, Admiral. They're not just weapons. They're a new form of life." "A new form of life," Paddle repeated softly. "Bred for war." "No," Isabella corrected. "Bred for survival. The hegemony thinks they understand warfare because they've mastered technology. But Leviathan represents something they've never encountered. The perfect synthesis of human ingenuity and nature's 4 billion years of evolutionary problem-solving." Outside the window, Leviathan's hull pulsed with quantum energy as new neural pathways formed throughout its structure. The ship was growing stronger, more aware. Soon it would be ready for its first real combat trial. "The hegemony dismissed us as primitives," Isabella said, watching their creation with pride. "They thought our unusual quantum experiments were crude attempts to copy their technology. They never considered that we might be developing something entirely new." "When do we show them how wrong they were?" Admiral Patil asked. "Final neural integration will be complete in 72 hours. After that, it's up to the crew to form a working relationship with the ship. Leviathan isn't just a vessel, Admiral. It's alive. It will protect its crew, learn from them, evolve with them. The ship's consciousness is young, but growing more sophisticated every day." In the vast chamber beyond the window, humanity's impossible ship continued to grow, its living metal pulsing with quantum energy that defied the laws of physics as the hegemony understood them. Soon, very soon, the galaxy would learn that dismissing humanity had been their greatest mistake. Leviathan would make sure of that. Commander Kira Yamamoto stood in the neural interface chamber, her heart racing as technicians attached the quantum organic connectors to her spine. The room's crystalline walls pulsed with soft bioluminescence, matching her heartbeat. She was about to become one of the first humans to merge consciousness with a living starship. "Neural sync initiating in 3 minutes," announced Dr. Victor Rossi, the neural integration specialist. His fingers danced across holographic controls, monitoring her vital signs. "Remember, Commander, don't try to control Leviathan. Think of it as a dance. Let it lead sometimes." 5 other neural chambers surrounded hers, each containing a carefully selected officer. Together, they would form the core consciousness of humanity's first bioship crew. The neural link wasn't just a control system. It was a bridge between species, between the organic and the impossible. "Sync in 60 seconds, Victor called out. "Leviathan is responding. Its neural patterns are aligning with yours, Commander." Kira closed her eyes, trying to steady her breathing. Years of psychological preparation had led to this moment, but nothing could truly prepare someone for sharing their mind with a living starship. Neural sync initiating. The universe exploded behind Kira's eyes. Her consciousness expanded, stretched, merged with something vast and alien and wonderful. She felt Leviathan's presence, curious, intelligent, eager to learn. The ship's awareness flowed through her mind like cool water, bringing with it sensations no human had ever experienced. She could feel the quantum fields rippling across the living metal hull, taste electromagnetic radiation, sense the subtle gravitational pulls of distant asteroids. More than that, she could feel Leviathan's emotions, its excitement, its caution, its deep-seated drive to protect its crew. Neural sync stable. Victor's voice seemed to come from a great distance. All patterns nominal. "Commander, can you respond?" "We are here," Kira answered, then corrected herself. "I am here. It's extraordinary." Around her, the other officers were entering their own neural syncs. She could feel them joining the greater consciousness. Lieutenant Wei as tactical officer, Dr. Patil as science officer, Commander Rodriguez as navigation, Lieutenant Commander Dubois as engineering, and Major Santos as weapons control. 6 human minds and 1 ship mind, weaving together into something entirely new. Beginning basic movement tests, Victor announced. Kira didn't need to issue commands. She merely thought about moving, and Leviathan responded. The massive ship glided out of its berthing chamber with impossible grace, its quantum impossible field already active. To any outside observer, this section of space would appear completely empty. All systems responding perfectly, Dr. Rossi reported, but Kira already knew this. She could feel every system, every quantum fluctuation, every pulse of the living metal hull. Leviathan wasn't just a ship she was controlling. It was an extension of herself. Throughout the asteroid belt, 4 other ships were undergoing their own neural integration ceremonies. Each vessel was unique, having evolved slightly differently during its growth phase. Together, they would form humanity's ghost fleet, ships that could rewrite the laws of physics and strike without ever being seen. Combat simulation beginning, announced Control. Multiple hegemony-class targets appearing. The holographic enemies materialized, their crystalline ships precise and predictable. Kira felt Leviathan's eagerness, its desire to prove itself. The ship's biological weapons systems powered up, generating controlled quantum singularities that could tear a conventional vessel apart. What followed wasn't just a demonstration of superior technology. It was a dance. Leviathan moved with liquid grace, its living hull flowing and adapting to each situation. The ship didn't just fight. It created art with physics itself. Quantum singularities appeared with surgical precision, disabling simulated enemies without destroying them. Incredible, Victor breathed, watching the display. The neural integration is perfect. The ship isn't just responding to commands, it's anticipating them, improving them. Through their shared consciousness, Kira felt Leviathan's satisfaction. The ship had its own ideas about combat, its own creative solutions to tactical problems. Together, they were developing strategies that no conventional military force could predict or counter. After 2 hours of intense testing, the neural sync began its scheduled shutdown. As her consciousness slowly separated from Leviathan's, Kira felt a surprising reluctance from the ship. It didn't want to let go. "It's okay," she whispered, both aloud and through their fading connection. "We'll be back tomorrow. This is just the beginning." As the neural connectors detached, Dr. Rossi approached with a tablet full of readings. "Commander, these results are beyond our highest expectations. The ship's consciousness has bonded with yours perfectly. It's learning, adapting, evolving with every interaction." Kira nodded, still processing the experience of being one with a living starship. "How are the other ships progressing?" "Each one is developing its own unique characteristics. They're like siblings, similar but distinct. Together, they'll be unstoppable." In the vast chamber beyond the neural interface room, Leviathan floated silently, its hull rippling with quantum energy. 4 other massive shapes hung nearby, each one a testament to humanity's ability to imagine solutions that no other species would dare to attempt. The hegemony thought they had seen everything the galaxy had to offer. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The Ghost Fleet was rising, and with it, humanity's chance to rewrite their place in the cosmic order. The only question remaining was, when would they reveal themselves, and how would the hegemony react when they realized that the primitive species they had dismissed had evolved beyond their comprehension? The answer would come sooner than anyone expected. The hegemony fortress station, Eternal Vigilance, hung in space like a crystalline spider, its quantum sensors sweeping the void for any sign of threat. 3 dozen warships patrolled its defensive perimeter, their hulls gleaming under the light of twin suns. For 5,000 years, no enemy had ever breached a hegemony fortress station's defenses. Commander Kira Yamamoto was about to change that. Through her neural link, she felt Leviathan's anticipation mixing with her own. 4 other bioships moved in perfect formation, each one invisible not just to sensors but to reality itself. Their quantum impossible fields bent probability around them, making their very existence mathematically improbable. All ships reporting ready, Lieutenant Wei's voice echoed through their shared consciousness. Through the neural network, Kira could feel the other crew's determination, their focus, their readiness. Remember, she broadcast to all ships, this is not about destruction. This is about demonstration. We show them exactly how much we've surpassed their understanding. Then we offer them a chance to reassess their position. Clear. 4 acknowledgments pulsed through the neural network. The Ghost Fleet moved forward like shadows through space, their living hulls adapting to every quantum fluctuation around them. They were 3 kilometers from the nearest hegemony patrol when the first hint of their presence appeared, a slight distortion in the crystalline ship's energy shields, like ripples in a pond. By the time the hegemony crew noticed the anomaly, it was far too late. Execute pattern Omega, Kira commanded, though with the neural link, words were hardly necessary. The Ghost Fleet moved as one organism, each ship targeting a different section of the hegemony defense grid. Leviathan struck first. Its hull flowed like liquid metal as it generated a precise constellation of microscopic quantum singularities. The attack wasn't designed to destroy. It was designed to demonstrate mastery. The singularities appeared inside the nearest warship's shield envelope, their gravitational forces precisely calculated to sever key power conduits, weapon systems, and engine controls. In less than 2 seconds, the pride of the hegemony fleet was reduced to a drifting hulk, its crew unharmed but utterly helpless. The other bioships struck simultaneously. Each one employed different tactics, showcasing the full range of their impossible capabilities. The second ship, Kraken, created quantum entanglements that froze its target's weapons in probability loops. The third, Chimera, generated temporal eddies that left its target's crew experiencing time at 1/10 normal speed. Hydra and Phoenix disabled their targets by rewriting the local laws of physics, making energy shields mathematically impossible within their engagement zones. 5 hegemony capital ships neutralized, Lieutenant Wei reported with calm precision. 0 casualties. Their remaining fleet is in disarray. Through Leviathan's enhanced senses, Kira watched as panic spread through the hegemony forces. Their precisely ordered formation dissolved into chaos as ships scattered in different directions, their sensors sweeping space frantically for any sign of their attackers. But the Ghost Fleet's quantum impossible fields remained perfect. The more desperately the hegemony searched, the more thoroughly their sensors convinced them that nothing could possibly be there. Signal prepared, announced Major Santos, broadcasting on all hegemony frequencies. Kira took a deep breath, feeling Leviathan's support through their neural link. This was the moment that would change everything. Send it. The message was transmitted simultaneously in all known hegemony dialects. Your ships have been disabled by human forces. Your crews are unharmed. This demonstration serves as notice. We are not a primitive species to be dismissed. We possess capabilities beyond your understanding. This is not a declaration of war. It is an invitation to reassess your assumptions. You have 1 hour to retrieve your crews before your ship's life support systems fail. Choose your next actions carefully. The response was immediate and chaotic. Hegemony commanders argued over encrypted channels, their carefully maintained protocols crumbling in the face of an impossible situation. How could they fight an enemy they couldn't detect? How could they defend against weapons that ignored the fundamental laws of physics? Multiple hegemony battle groups entering the system, Wei reported. Their entire 7th Fleet is mobilizing. Through their neural link, Kira felt Leviathan's eager readiness for more combat. But that wasn't the mission. Ghost Fleet, execute withdrawal plan Delta. Let them see exactly nothing of how we leave. The bioships moved in perfect synchronization, their living hulls rippling with quantum energy as they prepared to demonstrate one final capability. One by one, they generated controlled microscopic wormholes, slipping through space-time itself to emerge light years away. As Leviathan prepared its own wormhole, Kira allowed herself a small smile. The hegemony would spend years trying to understand what they had witnessed today. They would analyze every sensor reading, every energy signature, every quantum fluctuation. But they would find nothing. because as far as their science was concerned, what they had just experienced was impossible. The Ghost Fleet hadn't just won a battle. They had rewritten the rules of warfare itself. And this was only the beginning. All ships confirmed clear. Way reported as Leviathan's wormhole stabilized. The hegemony is launching a full investigation fleet. Let them investigate, Kira replied. They won't find anything but their own assumptions about what's possible. With a final pulse of quantum energy, Leviathan slipped through its wormhole, leaving behind a hegemony empire that would never again make the mistake of underestimating humanity. The real question was, what would they do next? The Grand Council chamber of the hegemony sprawled across an artificial planetoid, its crystalline spires reaching into space itself. For the first time in 5,000 years, all 12 High Archons had been summoned for an emergency session. The impossible had happened, and the hegemony's foundations were shaking. High Admiral Vextera, recalled from her distant posting, stood before them, her scales dim with vindication she took no pleasure in. The holographic displays around her showed the aftermath of humanity's demonstration. 5 of their most advanced warships, disabled with surgical precision by an enemy that had violated every known law of physics. You warned us. First Archon Zixtal acknowledged, all 4 eyes fixed on the display. We dismissed your concerns. As did I, initially, Vextera admitted. We all made the same mistake. We assumed technological progression followed universal constants. We thought we understood the rules. The chamber's quantum crystal walls pulsed with agitation as reports continued flowing in from across hegemony space. Human ships had been detected, or rather, their absence had been detected, near 17 different strategic facilities. They were everywhere and nowhere, leaving only the faintest quantum whispers as evidence of their passage. How? Third Archon Kelvax demanded, their crystalline exoskeleton crackling with frustration. How did they develop this technology without us noticing? Our observers watched their every move. No, Vextera corrected. We watched what they wanted us to watch. Those primitive satellites, the crude fusion experiments, they were all theater. While we congratulated ourselves on our superiority, they were developing something entirely new, something beyond our comprehension. The chamber fell silent as a new hologram materialized, a detailed analysis of the quantum fields that had been detected during the attack. The mathematics made no sense. According to every principle of physics the hegemony understood, these ships couldn't exist. They've achieved quantum biological integration, 9th Archon Tyrelith observed, their voice carrying both fear and fascination. Their ships aren't just machines. They're alive. More than alive, Vextera added. They're evolving. Each encounter shows new capabilities, new adaptations. They're learning, growing, becoming more than their creators intended. The council chamber's lights dimmed as a priority transmission cut through all security protocols. On every display, a human figure appeared. Admiral James Patel, his dark eyes carrying the weight of species that had risen far beyond its supposed limitations. Greetings, High Council of the Hegemony. By now, you understand that your assessment of humanity was incomplete. We come not to wage war, but to establish a new paradigm. Your empire has maintained order through technological superiority for 5 millennia. That era is over. The Archons stirred uneasily, but the transmission continued. We offer you a choice. Acknowledge humanity as equals, open diplomatic relations, and share in the new future we're creating. Or maintain your current posture and watch as we continue to demonstrate just how far beyond your understanding we've evolved. You have witnessed only a fraction of our capabilities. As if to emphasize this point, quantum sensors across the hegemony suddenly detected thousands of temporal anomalies, microscopic tears in space-time that appeared and vanished in seconds. The message was clear. The Ghost Fleet was everywhere, watching, waiting. How should we respond? 7th Archon Nixville asked into the heavy silence that followed. First Archon Zixtol rose, their ancient form casting fractal shadows across the chamber. We respond with wisdom. For 50,000 years, the hegemony has ruled through strength. Perhaps it is time we ruled through understanding instead. The humans have not demanded our surrender, Vex Terra noted. They have not sought to destroy or humiliate us. They simply want recognition, acknowledgement that they are not what we assumed them to be. And if we refuse, Third Archon Kelvax challenged. As if in answer, every quantum crystal in the chamber resonated with a harmonic frequency that should have been impossible to generate. The walls themselves sang with otherworldly energy, and for a brief moment, reality seemed to fold in on itself. When the effect faded, a single message hung in the air, written in perfectly formed hegemony script. The age of assumptions is over. The age of possibilities has begun. The council chamber erupted in discussion, but First Archon Zixtal raised a hand for silence. We built our empire on the belief that we understood the fundamental laws of the universe. Humanity has shown us that our understanding was limited. Perhaps that is the greatest gift they could offer us. Vex Terra felt her scales shift in agreement. The hegemony had ruled through power and certainty. Now they faced a species that had transcended their understanding of what was possible. The choice was clear: evolve or become obsolete. Send the response, First Archon Zixtal commanded. Tell humanity we are ready to learn. In the vast network of asteroid bases, where the Ghost Fleet had been born, Commander Kira Yamamoto received the transmission through her neural link with Leviathan. The living ship's consciousness resonated with satisfaction, not triumph, but hope. Humanity hadn't just changed the balance of power in the galaxy. They had changed the very nature of what was possible. And in doing so, they had opened the door to a future that neither humans nor the hegemony could have imagined alone. The age of assumptions was indeed over. The age of possibilities had begun.